Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Presidential Address. This is part 2. It is week 17, and I've got 3 total bets for you all. Let's get straight into it. Miami at Baltimore, a huge game. Massive playoff implications for both teams. And I like the over here. We played the over in Miami against Dallas and lost last week, but came right back on Monday night with a 5% play on Baltimore and San Fran over, and we cashed that. Well, we're going right back to the over again, regardless of the weather or the field conditions. Miami just came off a big win against Dallas, but they really didn't play great and still put up 22 points on one of the best D units in football. Miami is the number 1 team in the league in yards gained. Baltimore is number 5. Miami is number 1 in points scored at 31 points a game. Baltimore is the 4th best, 28 points scored per game. These are 2 prolific offenses. And like in the San Fran game, one of these offenses are going to get us to 30 points. If that's the case, this game flies well over the total. Now, I know Baltimore has a big-time D unit, number 1 in the league in preventing points, but no team is stopping this Miami offense. They might slow them down. They might keep them under their average of 31 points, but Miami is going to eat, guys. They're going to get their points, and they're going to get at least 21. As for Miami's defense, they're in the middle of the pack and really should not be able to stop the Ravens' offense. The only issue here in this game is how bad will the weather actually be. But at 47, a 28-21 game gets us to this number. And I've already said one of these teams is getting over 30. We're going to take Miami and Baltimore over the total of 47. Now we turn our attention to Arizona, going into Philadelphia. The total here is 48. And here is what we know. This Zona team is horrible at a very high level. Think Chicago pizza horrible. Think New York street vendor hot dogs horrible. You want to know how horrible? Picture Drake's music. That is how horrible this Arizona team is. This Arizona team is the 2nd worst defensive team in the league. They've allowed 27 points on average a game against them. They also have by far, and I mean by far, the worst run D in all of football. Given that Philly really hasn't played well of late, I think this is one of those games where they get right quick. I would not be surprised if Philly got to 40 points in this game. They put up 33 on the Giants, 37 on the Bills, 38 on Washington. They have not broken 40 yet this year, but they have come damn close. Even if the weather is terrible, Philly has one of the best run games in the league and should be able to name their score against this Arizona team. As for the Arizona offense, although not great, it's not as horrific as you would think. They put up 29 on San Fran. They put up 24 on Pittsburgh. Those are 2 outstanding defensive units. If Philly gets to 35 points, which I think is very doable here, Zona needs 2 TDs to get this game over. Zona has scored more than 14 points 5 games in a row. And with nothing on the line, they will be playing loose and taking their shots. I actually have no issue betting the Philly team total over as well, as I think they could go over 40 easily, 30 easily for sure. I think they could get to 40. With that said, I'd rather take the over in the game. I'm going to bet both, but my bigger bet will be over 48 for Arizona and Philadelphia. Now we turn our attention to Cincinnati playing Kansas City. I've been saying all year that there's something wrong with this Kansas City offense, and as it turned out, the Prez was right. And yes, he speaks in third person sometimes. This Kansas City team is 5-10 to the under this year. 5-10 to the under. And this total is 45.5. How? Why? Explain. This KC team just put up 14 points against a crappy Raiders team. and they have gotten over 20 points once in their last 6 games. Guys, Kansas City has scored more than 20 points once in their last 6 games. They have no wide receivers, and even 87 is struggling. They can't seem to protect Patrick. They can't seem to stop dropping balls, and even their run game hasn't been great of late. What they do have is a good D unit and have only let one team get over 20 points in their last 5 games. This KCD unit kept Buffalo to 20, Philly to 21. They kept the Dolphins to 14. How many points do you really think this beat-up Bengals team will score? I don't think many. The Bengals in a huge game against Pittsburgh last week put up 11 points. Now, I know the 3 games before that, Browning was a beast, but that was against Minnie, Indy, and Jacksonville. KC is a much better D unit than all 3 of those teams. In order for this game to get over 44.5, one team has to score 30, which is not going to happen, or both teams need to get into the 20s. That is a big ask for these 2 fledgling offenses. This game will be closer to 30 points than it will be 40. 24-21 gets you over the total. They're not. No, these 2 teams are not going to be in the 20s each. I am shocked at this total, and I think we see a drop throughout the week. If you're going to bet the under, I suggest you do it right now. Take Cincinnati and KC under the total of 44. So to summarize, guys, we like Miami and Baltimore over 47. We like Arizona and Philly over 48. We like KC and Cincy under 44.5. Make sure to check out part 1. It's my 3 side bets. I also will have a 5% play up in NFL this Sunday. Make sure to grab that. And a huge shout out to all of you guys who got my 2 5% last week. We cashed them both. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you all for week 18.